You are listening to the Pleasant Spirit Podcast with your host, licensed massage therapist, Kyle Pleasant. Here, we will be discussing topics on health and wellness, as well as self-improvement, and his experiences as a legally blind massage therapist. And now, here's your host, Kyle.
Hello, and welcome to Pleasant Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Pleasant, licensed massage therapist out here in Gresham, Oregon. So today, I wanted to talk about an experience that I had this afternoon that kind of inspired this episode. And so I had a dentist appointment today, and because of coronavirus and where my dentist office is I had to wait outside because they closed down the waiting room, and I had to, wait outside and in a line with other people, like a lot of other things, restaurants and, that sort of stuff. And so, it was outside, and I was standing out there with 6 other people or so. And, we're just kind of hanging out and, basically sharing our misery. And, this other gentleman and I kind of started cutting up with, saying different things back and riffing off of each other, and it was kind of interesting. And so he was standing next to the window, and he was saying, "Hey, maybe if they see me, out here, then they'll feel guilty." And I said, "Well, maybe you should shiver and act like you're really cold and all that kind of stuff, because it was kind of cool outside." But anyway, it was an interesting experience because he and I were kind of just sharing our thoughts about the situation, and we were trying to be funny and make it a little bit, have some levity in the situation. Well, other people out there were listening to us, and they started laughing, and we're so a whole energy shift to the circumstance when it could have very well been something else, where everybody was standing out there complaining about having to wait outside and that kind of stuff. So it gave me food for thought. There is that a lot of times when we're in situations, we want to be upset about it, or complain about it, or whatever it is, and yet it doesn't necessarily change the situation. But if we are in a mindset where we can change our thoughts, then we can make a situation feel a little bit better. A Jewish writer back in the Holocaust, Viktor Frankl, is famously for saying that if you can't change your circumstance, then you can change your attitude about your circumstance, which is something that we can definitely think about. And another thing is that everyone around us, there's 7 billion people on the planet, and I often play this game where in my mind, where it's if there's 7 billion people on the planet, then that means everyone, if not most people, have shared experiences. And things like everyone has shed a tear, everyone has seen the sunset, everyone has felt a raindrop, everyone has felt hunger pains, everyone has felt some kind of loss, whatever, all these kind of things that we know that everyone on the planet, if not almost everyone, has similar experiences. And that and there's actually, to me, I've always said that there's no private good, just like there is also no private aggravation. So when you're feeling alone and you're feeling isolated in some way, you can think about there, again, 7 billion people on the planet, and so that they're gonna experience the same things that you are, and so it makes you feel a little less alone, in that knowing that somebody else has that shared experience, even if they're not in front of you, joys and sorrows and all that sort of stuff. It also reminds me of a story that whenever I was going to massage school, the first couple of days, it was a small class back in Texas that I went, and it was a small class with some younger people. I think I was the oldest in the class, and well, the group of kids out of high school, a little bit nervous about being in a class, and understandably, if you're in a class and you're asked to undress to your level of comfort and wrap yourself up in a sheet, and then have a stranger, touch you, is definitely, definitely a nerve-wracking experience whenever you get onto a table and you're asked to touch somebody and you don't know how to drape them well, or you don't know what kind of techniques to use. It can be very nerve-wracking. But anyway, these kids, were just very nervous and uptight and very, and it made the class very uncomfortable, or a little bit, little boring when there were teachers up in front going, like the teacher in Ferris Bueller, where's the human anatomy is the latissimus dorsi, inserts from the top of the origin here, and whatever, it's like, oh my god, and I gotta do 5 months of this or whatever, and nobody was asking questions, and it was just really dull and very unlively. But I think that the third class that I was in, we partnered off. We were going to do massages on each other. We were going to practice some techniques and stuff. And so, I wrapped myself up in the sheet, after going into the bathroom and taking off my clothes. I wrapped myself up in the sheet, and the girl that I was working with was setting up the table. And so they turned down the lights and everybody's getting on the table, and you're in this room with the soft music or whatever. And so I come out and I get on the table, wrapped up in my sheet, and I guess the girl that I was working with didn't tighten the legs on the table well enough. So when I hopped up on the table collapsed on me, and I fell out onto the floor, butt naked, just sprawled out there on the floor. And it was like the girl that was working with me was mortified, and I was a little embarrassed. But I mean, whenever I started laughing and changed the energy of the situation from being upset to, oh my god, oh, that's so crazy, I can't believe that happened, we were all laughing, and once they started seeing me laugh, then everybody else started to laugh. And to me, it kind of broke the ice for and changed the course of the experience for the next 5 months, because it wasn't until that moment, after that, everybody was relaxed. And it was a fun, enjoyable experience after that, because that experience broke the ice. And the reason I'm sharing that story is that we have the opportunity in every situation, whether it's in our personal life or professional life, or if we're in a group or by ourselves, is to break the ice. And we have that, we can change the mood or the energy of that particular situation into something that is going to, inspire other people, or just the power of a smile, or the power of a kind word can definitely change an unpleasant situation into one that was a little bit more bearable. Just like today, whenever the other patient and I were sharing jokes about standing out in the rain, or not in the rain, but out in the cold, and it made everybody else feel a little bit better, and the energy changed or whatever. So, I just put that out there to everybody that, if you have the opportunity to break the ice, if it's with a smile or a kind word, or you hear stories about, trains in the New York subway getting stuck for 45 minutes to an hour in the sweltering heat, and in the dark, and everybody's, there's that one person that says, that goes around and passes out granola bars, or just starts a dance party, or something like that. Just breaks that ice, that breaks that tension, and we all have that opportunity to turn a situation that could be aggravating into one where we can share, some camaraderie, or some kind of, good spirits or whatever. So, take that, out there today, and, give somebody a smile or a kind word or whatever, and it'll definitely make not only their day, but it will make your day for having made somebody else's day better. So, anyway, definitely like and subscribe if something out there resonates with you. And of course, if you have any questions or show suggestions, then, let me hear about it. If you didn't know, that the bottom of the Apple podcast, or, the platform that I'm using, or the platform that I'm recording from, my hosting service is Anchor FM. So some people might be finding me through that Anchor FM website, has a voice message feature. So if you have a question, you can click on that link and leave me a voicemail, and I can share your question in the podcast itself. And that way, with questions or suggestions or something like that, definitely give me a little, launching platform for, other show ideas and that kind of thing. So again, like and subscribe and share it and leave me a voicemail. Or if you want, you can also send me a regular email at podcast@pleasantspirit.com and check out our newsletter. So until next time, everyone have a pleasant day and be well.
Thank you for listening to the Pleasant Spirit Podcast. We hope you found today's show informative. Please take a moment to write a review. And if you want to reach out or have show ideas, you can email at podcast@pleasantspirit.com. You can also visit his website at pleasantspirit.com. If you are in the Portland, Oregon area, you can schedule a massage or one of his coaching services at pleasanttouchmassage.com. See you next time, and always be well.